I'm not my dad. Not my dad.
I thought you were.
Invincible just aired its season 2 finale. In my opinion, it's the best thing I've seen all year so far. I've been tapped into Invincible since it aired its first season a couple years back. I really just tapped in because I thought Mark's yellow and blue costume really stood out and it looked cool to me. Plus, J.K. Simmons also got me really involved. I'm sure I don't have to tell you all too much about the first season of the show in general, as it took the entire world by storm. Everybody, and I mean everybody, was tapped into Invincible, and the show became a massive hit. Such a massive hit that the second and third season were already renewed as the show aired its last episode. Rightfully so, because season 1 of Invincible is absolutely amazing. But the second season is by far even fucking better. Season 2 bends the back of the expectations it had and just blows them all out of the water. Season 2 of Invincible puts a big emphasis on Mark as he deals with the betrayal of his father, Omni-Man. Now, I read the comic between the break of season 1 and season 2, and I found out to enjoy a lot of what Mark's character goes through in that span of time, from when he gets his ass beat by his dad and just forward. It's one of my favorite parts of the comic book. So seeing the whole season put Mark through a test of being compared to his dad, struggling to live a normal life and maintaining a relationship and keep his grades up in school, and the biggest one being his moral stance on not killing anybody, all being put to the test in this entire season. Mark and his mental health is put through the ringer this entire season, which seems like seeing Angstrom die in front of him after trying to save him, with Anissa telling him that things will only get worse for him if he continues to disobey, as a worse Viltrumite will come here and fuck shit up even worse, who is a character that I am very excited to see adapted in the next season, which is when I think he'll appear, because boy, if you don't know, you're in for a surprise. Mark literally can't catch a break in this entire season whatsoever, which is why I really love that montage at the end of him basically accepting that he has to let his normal life go and prepare himself for what's to come so that he can protect his family and ultimately the planet. His fight against Angstrom Levy, which it should be Levy, I don't know why they pronounce it as Levy, I always pronounce it as Levy, but his fight against Angstrom is also peak fucking television, as obviously the fight choreography is amazing, you know, the build up, all that stuff is phenomenal. But the part that everybody loves is the I thought you were stronger moment, when Mark kills Angstrom and he is completely haunted and such distraught after killing Angstrom that it sits with him the rest of the episode, which in comparison to the comic, I like how it was handled here. See how Mark is really upset. Much prefer the show's version of this scene than the comics, as I think the pacing of the show handles the situation a lot better, as you really get to sit with Mark in grief and really feel it a lot more than in the comics, in my opinion. Overall, I'm just really excited to see what comes next for Mark, as this season did a really good job building up his character and getting ready to propel him into his next stage of character development that, in my opinion, makes for some of the best development I've ever seen and read, anything. Season 2 of Invincible does a lot more than just elevate Mark's character. It does a lot more for the Invincible universe. I love that what Omni-Man did is still present and still relevant, as more people than just Mark we see are affected by his actions. Like Debbie, as for the first half of the season she goes through an entire depressive episode. Then in the second half, she's then thrusted upon the responsibility to take care of Nolan's Thraxon son. Debbie gets a lot of great moments. But speaking of Omni-Man and what he did, Omni-Man here is another big player, as he too feels the effects of what he did. The few times we've seen Omni-Man this season, like when he and Mark reunited to fight the Viltrumites, and his closing line in the finale do his character so much justice.
I think I miss my wife.
Showing that yes, he too was heavily infected by his own actions. These are all great attempts at trying to get the audience to buy into the fact that he can be redeemed. Season 2 also does a good job at improving Amber's character a lot, as she was the target of a lot of criticism last season. And while I do believe she was a little annoying last season for obviously knowing Mark's secret and still being upset, I'm glad Season 2 was able to improve on her character, making her and Mark's relationship something for us to root for even after the events of Season 1. They have a lot of little moments together where you really obviously see that they care for each other, and with Amber now being a lot more understanding, it all works. And I love that Amber being put in very real danger caused by Anessa, it was basically initiates their breakup, and it really worked for me. Characters like Alan become a lot more important this season and really get a chance to shine, and shows why Alan himself is just the fucking GOAT. Nigga's a G, that's my guy. Angstrom, while seeming absent until the finale, made still for a very threatening villain, which I believe is all due to Sterling K. Brown's performance, as he does a great job.
Not the villain! I'm trying to save the world! Your son is the monster!
I was not expecting him to do the crazy ass shit he does, like break Debbie's arm in fucking half or toss Oliver around. It all made for a very entertaining and very menacing villain. So bad that you really did want Mark to kill this nigga, and I think that works a lot. I love a good villain that you can definitely love to hate. Issues I have with Invincible Season 2 are really minor. In some spots, the animation is still a little rough around the edges, especially when you compare it to the Adam Eve special that we got a while before the season premiered. While I understand why the Eve special was a special and had a completely different director working on it, I do wish we got an action scene a little close in spectacle to the one we got in Adam Eve. To be fair, the Omni-Man scene of him in space looks fucking phenomenal, and while there's still much to be desired by the show, the action and animation don't really kill it, as it still feels like you're reading a comic book and you're still heavily engaged, so it's still a plus. Nothing really to cry about. Now, the random mid-season break that happened, while I do appreciate that they're giving the time to these animators, letting them cook this product up to its standard, not overwork them like studios do now, that it did kill some hype for people. It can't be ignored. But my biggest problem, as I mentioned, Angstrom feeling a bit absent from the show until the finale, is partially due to the break. Before the break happened, you get the whole tease and build up, but since the break happened and it was so long, you kind of forgot what the first half of Invincible was really about, other than the ending scene of episode 4. I still think they landed on their feet properly, even with the whole gap in time, maybe doing some detriments on the show's story. I still think season 2 is fucking phenomenal and a perfect adaptation of the source material, as it feels like you're reading the comic book essentially, and I think that's what adaptation should do. Invincible Season 2 doesn't try to replace the issues of the comic. It serves as its own thing and allows you to both experience this in both the comic, instead of replacing one or the other. Season 1 in general made me read the comic, and now Season 2 makes me want to go back and reread all the issues. Can't wait for Season 3, as what we've heard about the season so far, the fact that every episode will be finale level gets me super excited, as Season 3 seems to be taken from Second Compendium. Second Compendium is my favorite, it has a lot of great shit. It's really when Invincible starts for me, honestly. It gets me super excited. And yeah, shout out to Invincible, man. If you haven't, watch it, please. If you haven't, read it, please. Like I said, just experience both of these things, as they're both great. They both deserve to be praised, bought, and appreciated and supported. Thank you all for watching this little mini review of Invincible. Leave a like, comment, subscribe, and let me know how you feel about Invincible. Like I said, if you have seen it, if you have read it, what are you excited for next season? And yeah, it's been Dan, the Boy Wonder, signing out. Peace.